Welcome back to Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. We're playing Cult of Sentinel Hill with Mandy Thompson over here with a crawling one and Ashcan Pete in the sawmill. And we're going to take a quick look at their character sheets, see what they have for items and damage and so forth, and then we'll begin. Alright, first we'll take a look at Ashcan. He has 1 face down damage, 3 face down horror. He has the silver key, the pickaxe, which is a heavy weapon. He has dynamite, which he's saving up for, I'm sure, when the big bad shows up. He has forensic evidence, a knife, which is a bladed weapon. He has the arcane manuscript, giving him +1 die on a lore test. Duke, at the start of your turn, you can perform a trade action as if you were in any space within range. And he has the carbine, which he got last episode, which is an awesome ranged weapon, but he is wounded, which means he can only do the move action once per turn. He cannot move twice. Alright, let's take a look at Mandy. Oh, and he has no clue tokens. Alright, taking a look at Mandy. She has 1 face down damage, a broken leg, which means if she moves more than 1 space during her turn, she must drop a random item. She's insane. She's wounded, which means she can only move 1 space for a movement, and or she can only move once on her turn, and she has 1 face down horror on her way to being eliminated. So if she gets 6 damage or 8 total horror, she's out of the game. She has the cult sigil, which is evidence. She has circumstantial evidence, and she has the old journal evidence. So she has 3 pieces of evidence. She is the investigator. So, or the researcher, sorry. So I'm not surprised she's researching. She has her trusty 45 automatics Feed the Mind spell, which is as an action, you or another investigator within range can become focused, then flip the card. And she has the Poison Mist spell. You can attack a monster in an adjacent space with this card, which means you can attack under doors, which I haven't been doing yet, but she could, but you cannot attack through walls with it. Alright, back to the board, and I think we're going to have Mandy go first. She's face-to-face with the crawling one. She has 45 automatic, though, so let's see what she can do for damage. Alright, so Mandy's up here. She's dropped her Elder Ward. Zebulon Watley is also in her space. She takes out her 45 automatics, and she is going to take a shot for her first action at the crawling one. So off to the side here, I'm using the app. Attack with a firearm. As you fire, your shots seem to barely phase the creature. You search for any vulnerability that you can exploit. Observation, and she needs 2 successes. Well, her observation, being the researcher, is very good. She has 5 dice for observation, and she doesn't have any negatives or positives to that. So she's going to be rolling 5 dice, and she's looking for 2 successes. Come on. Well, she gets 1 success, and she's going to flip this magnifying glass with her last clue token to a success, giving her 2 successes. All right, let's look at the app and see what that means. If you pass, you seem to find such a spot, and finally your shots begin to register. The monster suffers damage equal to your weapon's damage. Okay, that's pretty awesome, because Mandy's firearm, of course, does 4 damage. So she's going to do 4 damage to the crawling chaos, or crawling 1. Unfortunately, it has 5 hit points. That's not enough to kill it. So for her second action, she's just going to shoot at it again. So she attacks it again with her firearm. This time the creature roars, and as you pull the trigger, your weapon roars back. This time she needs to make a willpower check. Her will, of course, though, is only 3, so this is going to be a little bit tougher for her. Let's have a look. She's going to be rolling 3 dice. Come on! She basically gets nothing. She doesn't have any clue tokens left. That is unfortunate. If you fail, the noise overwhelms you, and your focus and aim fall apart. So basically, that's going to be Mandy's turn. Up next, Ashcan Pete. So she did some damage to it, but did not manage to completely take it out. Alright, up next is Ashcan Pete. And of course, I've been making another error all the way through, and I'm sure the comments make note of it, and it has to do with these dashed lines. You cannot, monsters and investigators cannot cross. They're called impassable barrier dotted lines, and I, of course, had Mandy just wander right through the swamp. She's not allowed to do that, and I have been doing that incorrectly. So just something else to keep in mind. Also, when it says a monster within range, moves toward you within range, they cannot move through doors, and I did that earlier in the playthrough as well. So all kinds of errors piling up, but we're going to soldier on here and see if I can try to win the scenario, even though I'm cheating, and most of the errors I've been making have been detrimental to the investigators. All right, let's carry on. Ashcan is wounded, so he can only move once. He would have loved to have investigated inside the sawmill, but he hears the ruckus outside, and he has to go try and help Mandy. So he's going to move 2 spaces, 1, 2, and I will try to now keep in touch with the fact that you cannot cross these borders, neither can monsters. So he's done a move action. He is now going to take a shot with his carbine at the crawling chaos, like crawling 1. And you cannot attack a monster within your space with the carbine rifle, but you can attack a monster within range, 1, 2 spaces away. He is allowed to shoot at the crawling one, and he will do so. For his second action, he will attack with a firearm. As the creature's limbs writhe and flail, you wait for your moment and then fire off a single shot. We're checking agility, and that's a good thing because Ashcan's agility happens to be 4. So he's going to roll 4 dice, and we're looking for 2 successes. The unfortunate thing is he has no clue tokens, so he's going to have to get 2 successes, or it's just not going to happen. Come on, we really need this. And he gets 3 successes. So he waits for his moment with the carbine, and pow, gets his shot off. If you pass, your bullet strikes true. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage. Well, that is one heck of a lot of damage. That's 5. So he basically blows the crawling one into pieces, and away it goes. It is destroyed. So that is most excellent. But unfortunately, that is going to be the second action for Ashcan Pete. And that's really the end of our turn for the investigator. So up next, of course, is going to be the Mythos phase, which is happening right now. It says the fire spreads out of control. Place a fire token in a space adjacent to a space containing fire. Oh boy. Well, like I said, I think we're going to try to keep the fire away from here. So let me readjust the camera. And we're going to throw some more fire. All right, so the scarecrow burning out of control is going to carry over into that field. And so we're going to have the fire spread to this location as far away from us as possible. And yes, we have fire all over the place right now. But let's go back to the main board, the main area with our characters, and continue on with the Mythos phase. All right, continuing on, after the fire spreads, your investigation has gone on too long, and your strength is now ebbing. Each investigator flips 2 damage face up. Well, it could have been much worse. Each investigator right now only has 1 face down damage. So we'll do Mandy first. Hers is a back spasm. Resolve immediately. Drop 1 random item. Then flip this card face down. Oh, great. A random item, which is going to have to be any of the 3 pieces of evidence and her 45 automatic. Because the others are spells. They're possessions, not items. And so, once again, I'll just put them down here. I'm going to roll a 4-sided die if I can find one. Yeah, here's a 4-sided die. Whoops, as I dropped it on the floor. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So what does she drop? She drops the 3rd item onto the ground from a back spasm. So what she drops is her circumstantial evidence. So now there's an Elder Ward and circumstantial evidence dropped on the ground. Of course, she retains the rest of it. She retains her gun. She has a good grip on her gun. Of course, we know she's insane at the moment as well. All right, continuing on with the... Oh, that was... Sorry, that was Mandy doing her face-up damage. And now we're going to do Ashcan Pete's damage. A minor injury. Resolve immediately. No additional effect. Flip this card face down. So got off relatively lightly there. Continuing on, back to the investigator phase. And so, oh boy, have to do a little thinking here as to what we are going to do. And yeah, we'll come right back and continue. The app has told us we're taking too much time. So I think the sawmill with its exciting items there is just going to have to take a pass, and we're going to have to wait. We're going to have Ashcan Pete go first, and he's going to do the extinguish fire option. So he's going to be rolling agility, and for every success, he can remove a fire from a space he moves into or from he starts from. So we're just going to have him do that because we have to, of course, now we can't go through impassable barriers, which I've been doing, which is incorrect. He has to go all the way around because we want to get down here to Sentinel Hill. Mandy slogged her way through the swamp. Somehow, maybe in her insane state, she managed to find a passage through there. But anyway, for agility, he gets 3 successes, so he could extinguish 3 fires. But I don't think he's going to bother. Now, that was his first action, extinguish fire. His second action is to move. So he's going to move in here, get rid of this fire, and then he's going to move in the space with Mandy. Away he goes. All right. And now it is Mandy's turn. Mandy pleads with Ashcan. She says she's going to do a trade action, which means you can trade with characters, pick up items, drop items. You can do all these things simultaneously. So she's going to pick up her ward, and she's going to pick up the circumstantial evidence, and she says, "Please, Ashcan, give me your knife. I need your knife." And he's like, okay. He has a carbine and a pickaxe, and so he thinks, well, she wants a melee weapon. All right, I'll give you my knife. So he gives Mandy his knife for some reason, and there you have it. That was Mandy's first action, was to do a trade action. And now she has a broken leg. If you move more than a single space as part of your move action, flip 1 damage face up. Oh man, well, does she want to move here and drop an item? Or flip? She's going to drop an item. I think she's just going to move 1 space here then. Again, we're making our way here. And that was, so she did a trade action, a move action. Wow, once again, we're back in the Mythos phase, and things are going pretty rapidly downhill. So we're going to end off the investigator phase. We're going to go to the Mythos, and yes, of course, the fire will be spreading out of control. So once again, I have to pick a space to put fire to spread into, and I think we're going to put it right here. We've already retrieved the carbine, so we're not too concerned that the sawmill will probably burn down now, but we're going to leave it there. Continuing on with the Mythos phase, when the scream begins, you believe it is a human being crying out in fear. By the time the last echo dies, you can only conclude it is some sort of wild beast, far closer than you would like. Each investigator suffers 1 face-down horror. Well, okay, that's not good. The big bad is out there in the wilderness. So 1 for Mandy. She now has 2 face-down horrors, and another 1 for Ashcan. He now has 4 face-down horrors of a possible 7 sanity. So he's not insane yet. Oh, and I think, no, he's wounded. Okay, he doesn't have a broken leg. I got to keep all the effects in order here now. Okay, I do believe we're back to the investigator phase. So I'm going to readjust the camera again, I think a little bit, and we're going to do 1 more turn for Mandy, 1 more turn for Ashcan. And that's going to be about it. We're going to start off with Mandy. She's going to do a move action. She's going to move just 1 space. Now remember, she has a broken leg. If she moves more than 1 space in a turn, then she has to drop a random item because she'll have to flip up that 1 damage she has. So she's going to do a move action, and then for her next action, she will take a look at, it says, some of the trees in this copse have been bent or broken along a path, but something has been discarded just outside the destruction. She is going to do her second action. She will search that. It says the heavy Trunks of the spruce trees have been snapped and bent as if a tornado ran through this portion of the forest. At the edge of the destruction, you find a tool covered in some sort of gray slime. Gain the wrench, common item, then discard this search token. So she finds a wrench, which I will try to do here quickly. There we go, we got the wrench. So it's another weapon. So we're loaded with weapons, but we're heavily damaged, going insane, heavy weapon. So she now has a knife, a wrench, a 45 automatic. She's got a ton of stuff, and that's what we find in that location. All right, that's Mandy's turn. Up next, Ashcan Pete. He is also going to do a single move action. I wonder if he should grab the Tome of Horrors. He might. Oh man, he might as well. I think he's going to move one space here, and for a second action, he's going to grab the Tome of Horrors. Why not? Because he can only move once on his turn, and that's it, because he's wounded. All right, well, that was very quick. And so, I think we're now finished the investigator turn again. We're going to have one last Mythos phase for this episode. That's going to be it. And yes, I'm pretty sure that fire is still going to be burning out of control. Yes, it is. And we're just going to start going, I guess we're going to go right into the sawmill with the flames. The sawmill's starting to burn down. This is all very bad, of course. And of course, fire can go under doors. It just can't go through walls. So things are blazing out of control. All right, Mythos phase continuing on. Through the dark, you see a pair of red eyes slowly moving towards you. Oh, great. Each investigator in a space containing darkness, which we're not, suffers 2 horror and willpower negates. So we are not in spaces with darkness. So we're just going to hit continue. We're back to the investigator phase. So I think in the essence of time today, we are closing in on Sentinel Hill. And I'm sure things are going to get wildly out of control once we get to these 2 investigations. The standing stones and the great big skid mark that's down the hill here. Well, thanks so much for watching along. This is Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. We're playing Cult of Sentinel Hill, and I apologize for the errors along the way. Inexcusable, but I guess trying to talk and film and run the app and do everything has messed my mind up once again, but that's what I do here on my channel. I make errors, but I try to correct them in either the comments or in the videos with notes. All right, so again, thanks so much for watching along. Your subscriptions, your likes, really appreciate it. Join me next time for the continuation of Mansions of Madness. We're playing Cult of Sentinel Hill.